Good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending this session today. Let's welcome our next speaker. His name is Hassan Abdelnabby, Mechanical Maintenance Deputy Director of Al Zeina Tissue Mill Company and leader of the Mobius Connect of Egypt. We're going to hear what he has to say as he shares his view on the practical approach in oil contamination control. Hassan, I give it to you.
Thanks, Arturo. First of all, it's a pleasure to be here again, second time for the same year in LRVS. I feel honored to be part of this huge summit, and it is my pleasure to represent Mobius Connect. Thank you all for who's attending now. Today, I'm going to discuss with you a topic that is near to my heart. It is a practical approach in oil contamination control. This webinar will be discussing some of the essentials, but at the end of it, we're going to discuss in details like an action plan if you are new with a plant and want to control the contamination, what to do. But let me first introduce myself. I'm Hassan Abdelnabby. I'm a mechanical maintenance deputy manager at Zeina Tissue Mill. I have 10 years of experience in maintenance variability improvement. I'm a brand ambassador and Egypt community leader at Mobius Connect. Machine lubrication analyst level 1 from ICML, certified vibration category 3 from Mobius Institute, Six Sigma Green Belt and SMRP. And I will begin today with a quote. All of our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them. And this quote was for Walt Disney. And in Mobius, we have a big dream. Our dream is to create a community that can have a huge impact on changing the industry, creating a platform that can help other experts in order to share the knowledge, and other industrial people who are willing to enhance their knowledge to be here and share their thoughts with us. So in Mobius Connect, you can engage in live feeds, you can expand your network, you can start by creating your profile in order to connect with the industry professionals. Mobius Connect has a lot of technologies that can be covered in their knowledge center. So we have webinars, articles, technical studies, podcasts, all over aspects of reliability and condition monitoring. Just go to Mobius Connect and see. All of this media is free. All of this media is for you to explore and share with others. And you can join your local community. If you don't see your country as a local community, you can become a community leader like me and start sharing your thoughts about the world, about the industry. So you can help us by attending our live events, share the posts we make via social media. You can help us spread the word by telling others about the community. And you can post your articles, or even if you want to create your own webinar, just reach out to us and we can help you on this. So without further ado, we now start our presentation, and we start with an important slide. So the function of a lubricant. So the lubricant here, we use it to reduce friction. We use it to control wear, control corrosion, remove contaminant, and remove heat, and of course in hydraulic and power transmission. So what are main types of oil contamination? So we have external contamination and internal contamination. So external contamination comes from the environment, like dust and dirt, water, humidity, bad practices, of course, contaminated tools, or cross-contamination, of course. And the internal contamination can come from surface degradation or oxidation, or even at the end of life of the oil, the depletion of additives can create this internal contamination. So there are some common contamination in the oil that we're going to discuss briefly here. So we have abrasives, air, a coolant, cross-contamination, water, and fuel. So abrasives. This is a huge enemy, okay? So this is dust can come to your equipment from the environment. So I work in tissue mill. So we have fine dust from the bulb itself that can contaminate our lubrication units. It can come even from the start, from handling and storage, from the transportation of the oil itself. It can come from the environment. Every aspect of the environment is trying to get inside your equipment. This all can create contamination for you. So some metal parts can come from normal wear, like aging, but some can come from the buildup of this contamination in order to fit fit inside the oil film and create a third body abrasion and start increasing the wear rate of the metal itself. Next, we have air. So air is like a huge problem when you try to transmit power. So if you're going to transmit power in your brakes and you have an air inside the system, when you start hitting the brakes, it will not work. So it's even there are different types of air. We are more focused in the entrained air. So entrained air can create cavitation or causes corrosion or even increase the oxidation, and this could lead to thermal degradation. So also when you leave it more than the amount that can be trapped inside the oil, it can become a free air or foaming, so affecting the level of the tank and give you more even problems in the oil. So the coolant. So this is typically an engine problem. So if you have any gasket that leaks, this gasket is separating the coolant from the oil, this is going to lead to this contamination. So oil contamination by coolant may thicken the oil as the impact of water, creating a sludge that can damage your equipment. So of course, cross-contamination. Cross-contamination can come from bad mentality at the beginning. So if you have some remaining of an oil and you want to fill up the tank and you say that it will nothing happens, so let's put it here and see what happens, this can lead to cross-contamination. Both of them may eat each other. The additives itself can kill each other. Let me rephrase it like this. So the oil you try to help you start attacking each other, and at the end of the day, you have a lower efficiency of your viscosity or lower efficiency for the oil film that creates to more problems. Of course, the huge enemy is water. So if you can see in the picture, so this is oil that is contaminated with water. So water is a huge disaster. I have seen it in my factory and struggled in order to remove it with the lower cost as possible. So oil is a contaminant that can harm your equipment by creating corrosion and even creating cavitation that can affect also can affect the film strength that will lead to more wear that gonna at the end of the day, if they can become a sludge, it is the end of your oil. You need to remove it. So whatever the cost, you need to remove it. Finally, we have fuel. So it's called fuel dilution. When you have bad seals in the combustion chamber and some oil and some fuel can escape due to pressure to the oil, it lowers the viscosity of your oil, creating at the end of the day a problem from mixing these two fluids together that can lead to disasters. So does the size of the contaminant really matters? If you can imagine, the human hair is 70 microns, and what we are trying to fight here is 12 microns or something like that, even 4 microns or 5 microns in the servo motors. So yes, the size actually matter, but there is a application for used. I have seen it before. When you talk to a technician and the technician guy come and takes the oil and try to move his fingers around it and see nothing, it's clean, let's put it there. So let's make sure that he will not see any contaminations that can affect our equipment. Because if you can see that some of the components have a thickness of 3 microns, and your eyes cannot see beneath 40 microns. So you can take it and try feel it, but this is not a good indication to see if your oil is working or not. So imagine that there is a third body abrasion, or there is a contaminant is bigger than the oil thickness, as we said, that's 3 microns or 4 microns. It's going to start creating a crack due to this collision between the 3 bodies together. That's going to lead to a network of cracks with time. At the end of the day, it's going to start to become a spool. So this is can be eliminated by removing this contaminant that is hard to detect with your own eyes. That's why they created the ISO 4406 in order to come up with a standard, in order to review with each other how is the contamination level or how is the cleanness level in others say we can say it. So also we can come with a normal cleanness level and the recommended cleanness level. So if you can increase the efficiency of your oil cleanness level, you will increase the lifetime of your oil maybe by 10 or 11 times, depends on the level of cleanness you have reached. And of course, this can reduce the amount of secondary damage from these contaminants that can lead to more problems. So at the end of the day, from this slide, I just want to say, you need to clean your oils and you need to control this tank, because it's an asset at the end of the day. And if you're gonna treat it in a proper manner, it's gonna give you the desired outcome from its application. So oil contamination control, from my point of view, it's like a journey. Start with enhancing the utilization of oil analysis, but at the same time, trying to enhance the lubrication practices. So if you enter a factory and you don't know where to start, if you follow my advice, because this is from my experience, from an actual success that I reached with my oil lubrication program in my factory, you need to work on both edges in order to see what you are attacking and try to attack it with a proper way. So the first stage is oil analysis. You need to know where you are. So first of all, you need to determine the asset you need to care about. So you need to see the criticality of this asset. Is it a huge tank? Is it is going to harm the production? You need to see it in order to account for it or exclude it at the beginning of your program. The next step, from my point of view, is to search for a third party that can give you a quality inspection, or can give you the proper level of trustworthy in the results that you're going to send. Of course, they're going to help you in taking the sample from the correct location, using the correct method, and performing the proper procedures in order to get this sample. And all of this is just to determine the current state of your oil. After that, they can help you in establishing the desired state. So they can tell you that you need to increase the cleanness level with this, or you need to fight this kind of contaminants because they are affecting your oil. So they even can help you with determining the limits or the alarm limits in order to continue monitoring your oil health. But this is their side of the problem. This is their side of this problem. But your side is to understand the report in the first place and manage the data in a proper way in order to come up with corrective action in order to preserve your oil health. So after you know what you are doing and what is the current state of your oil, you can see what is what is needed to be done in order to fix this problem. But you need to to know for sure that the oil sampling or the oil test must have the fluid properties like viscosity and acid number, and also, of course, should have contamination, like particle count and moisture content. And in severe cases, you need to ask for real particle analysis in order to perform analytical ferrography in order to find the root cause of this problem. Now we're going to discuss some of the interesting subjects. So enhancing lubrication practices. So contamination can be prevented or can be removed. So we can start by preventing it, starting from handling and storage, maybe filtering the new oil, use good quality breathers or upgrade the seals in order to prevent contamination from entering your tank or your asset as the first place. But sometimes you are not successful, and even if you try to be 100% sure that you are preventing the contamination, sometimes you need to go to the removal section. So you need to upgrade your system filters, or you even need to consider an offline filtration. From my point of view, you need to work with both of them, with the prevention and also the removal. When you enter a factory and you don't know from where to start, you need to, first of all, check the lubrication plan, see every acid and see the OEM recommendation of this oil, and see if it's actually on the site or not. After performing this step, which is an important step, but sometimes it is easier to perform it if you have the data from the OEM. You need to work on both sides. You need to fight the contamination on the two frontier, the prevention side and the removal side. So the prevention from receiving and storage, of course, your oil is not clean. If you get it clean from, if you get a new oil, it's not a clean oil. You need to filter it in order to reach the certain cleanness that you need. And of course, outdoor is not a solution. But if you are new in a factory and come to the top management and say that they are storing oil outside and we need to build a storage tank in order to storage facility in order to put the oil inside it, they may treat you as a crazy person, or even maybe hit you or beat you up in order to, because you are talking about spending more money that even the budget of the top management can consider to spend in the current moment. But you need to convince them that being outside is you are in a risk of contaminating your oil even before put it inside your asset. And at the end of the day, we all know that there is a good image that we all need to reach, that you have a storage facility which is dedicated canisters and colored barrels in order to separate and remove the human error from the formula of fighting the contamination. But any small step can be done. If you are outside and you cannot do it, you can fill plastic bags in front of the oil, or even try to maneuver it in order to avoid this kind of contamination. Next, we have the filling or the using this oil in the first place. So if you have a huge tank, of course, if you have a filtration system and a breather, this is a dream for some companies. But if you do it, you make sure that the oil is going to be served for a long time if you handle it properly from this tank to your assets. That's why you can use different type of canisters that it's available from different vendors. I just use in this case a photo, but you can use this in order to put the oil inside your tank and make sure that you are preventing the contamination from this oil and preserving the cleanness level that you struggled and you spent money on your oil. Enhancing the breather quality, of course, when you enter a facility that doesn't work on his lubrication reliability program and you introduce this kind of breathers, they might say that this is too much to do, why we should do these breathers, and what is the benefit of this breather. But from a piece of advice: if you see this kind of breezers, you need to kill it at once and try to put or solve this solution, because you are introducing humidity, you're introducing dust. Whatever the environment will be inside your asset, and whatever is gonna go inside your asset, you will spend much more money in order to remove it back again from this asset. So contamination control is a journey, but if you are not successful with the prevention, as we said before, and you need to come up with a solution for removal, there are some steps that you need to consider, like what is the volume of this tank, the oil type, the oil temperature, oil contamination problem at the beginning. This can be done after the oil analysis, of course. So it's particle, oil degradation, sludge, varnish, or even water. And this type of application, and the machine operation hours per day. But after you gather this information and you get offers from different vendors, you need to check the operation cost of this filtration unit per minimum for 5 years in order to compare a true apple to apple, because some vendors give you a lower cost for the asset itself, but the filtration is much more expensive. At the end of the day, you're going to spend more, but they distribute it like an installments. Of course, you need to agree with them on a certain cleanness level that they're gonna guarantee that they're gonna deliver for your asset. And of course, this cleanness level, the equipment they're gonna deliver can do it. So you need to review if they are capable of performing this, because a lot of companies, as I was discussing with Arturo, that they hit and run. They give you the equipment and they're gonna escape, and you need to even to remove this unit from the surface, or put or try to become a slave on this vendor and try to purchase more and more in order to get the clearance level for your equipment. So at the end of this session, I'm gonna discuss just the new era. So IIOT is a trendy subject. And from my point of view, if technology is not fully utilized, you actually don't need it. Yes, everyone was searching for the new technology or the new trend, but it is you need to make sure that your company or your facility or your situation requires this kind of technology at the beginning. So, of course, there are now portable oil analyzers that can give you instantaneous results in the field. If you need it, you can do it. Of course, online particle counters, I have 3 installed in my facility that can give you particle count, temperature, and also give you the water content, which is good to give an indication. But for me, I think that it has a huge impact on the reliability culture itself. So our technician is going every day and taking results of this condition online particle counter. So from his point of view, he knows that if these values increase, there's something wrong with the oil, and this is a huge win that you can feel it in the performance of this operator. Of course, there are mutual sensors or oil quality sensors that can even trip the machine, or even give you an alarm, or even let's go the further mile and say that it's gonna send the data to the cloud, and you can reach it from your phone, and you can monitor everything throughout your phone. But if your company is not ready for this technology, what's next? So you can even some can discuss that you can after you get these results, an offline filtration unit will start working in order to save money if you don't want to make it run 24/7. All of this is great. So what next? What next? From my point of view, technology is going in exponential rate, but the culture is not going in this exponential rate. This is what I believe. That's why all the time I try to say it, because you need to work with the culture at the beginning in order to make use of this technology. So in conclusion, and I hope the slides was okay for you, oil contamination control is a journey. It will not be just one action that be done. It requires teamwork. Not one can perform it. Yes, we need a champion or need a team leader that has a vision to increase the lubrication reliability inside a plant, but it's all about teamwork. And believe me, any small change can create a huge difference. So if you enter the plant and you convince them to switch from manual greasing gun to pneumatic greasers that have a dedicated type of grease, this is a huge win. If you convince them to perform oil analysis every 3 months, every 6 months, any small change can create a huge impact at the end of the day. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for attending this session. You can get in touch with me throughout all social media. And I thank you again for the opportunity to become here with you today. Thank you.
Hassan, thank you very much for that wonderful presentation. Your work really resonates with us, and we have a couple of questions here. We have 4 minutes to get through.
Okay.
All right, let's see.
Let's do it.
All right, first question from Dugard. Hi, I'm Dugard from Cameroon. Is contamination by air a big problem for engine, diesel or petrol oils?
Okay, you are in Cameroon, so you live in Africa like me in Egypt. So dust is in the air. So if you are not controlling dust coming to the air, so it's gonna create this wear on the piston cylinders. This is gonna create a huge disaster, making more oil escape to the oil combustion chamber, and even some fuels that can escape to the crankcase. So air filtration is important for diesel engine. Even our cars, we have filters in it. Even but the problem is no one can feel this impact, because I used to work in the diesel industry. I was responsible for maintaining 140 diesel engine. The problem is that people used to forget. So they used to see that this engine is running for 4 years or 1,000 hours. So this is okay. This is enough for him. But what we are trying to enhance, or what we're trying to infect others with this idea, is we can extract more life from this asset or this equipment. That's why we are trying to prevent this kind of contaminants in order to reach out or increase the lifetime of the asset. So of course, contamination or air contamination is a huge impact, can have a huge impact on diesel engine.
Excellent, excellent. We have another question from Kevin Albert, an interesting one at that. How to control the grease contamination?
Let's talk from the new technology and go less. Okay, so the new technology have a dedicated canister filled with a certain type of grease that is that fits the application, and this is installed, permanently installed on the equipment, and it you can put an ultrasonic sensor or something like that in order to give the pulses of grease without any contamination. So this is the top that we could reach now in the industry, but we can lower the expectation a little bit. If you have a good lubrication guy that is properly trained and give him a proper tool, he can give you a good result using this. So the contamination of the grease, you need, when you fill the canister, you need to do it in a controlled environment, controlled area, that not to get mixing grease or put it in the same gun, or you have only one pneumatic greaser and you running around the factory with it, putting red grease with green grease with blue grease, and at the end of the day, you give your asset a cake that has a different shape and different color, that doesn't give you the proper grease requirement to to control lubrication. So from my point of view, if you want to control grease contamination, first of all, if you're capable of performing a centralized system that can put a controlled grease, you lift the barrel and put the new automatic greaser, and the system runs until the end of the barrel. So you are excluding a lot of problems using this. But if you don't have this kind of money, or you haven't actually built a true business case to the top management, you need to have a good lubrication guy that knows that a small change he can do will create the impact, a huge impact at the end of the day.
Excellent. We have a hard stop at 11:30. Thank you very much, Hassan. There is additional questions. Hassan will get back to you within time. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending, and we'll see you the next show. Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.